On Monday, November 3rd, there is going to be a special town meeting here in Sterling. It is taking place at 6:30 p.m. at Chalkset School Gymnasium at 40 Boutel Road. And among the items on that night's agenda is the proposed new facility for the DPW, for Sterling's DPW. I am speaking today with the superintendent of the DPW here, Ryan Mouradian. Ryan, welcome.
Thank you, Lex.
Very, very good to be talking to you about this. Now, tell me why Sterling needs a new DPW facility.
So our current facility does not meet the needs of our operations anymore. Since the original building was constructed, Sterling has grown significantly in population, road miles. Our vehicles and equipment have grown in size and quantity due to that. Our staff has grown, and we are just purely undersized. We're parking numerous critical vehicles outside year-round. And then inside, the layout forces maintenance and vehicle storage to kind of be together. So if a vehicle is being maintained, we can't park a vehicle behind it. If we're maintaining a vehicle in front of a vehicle that's not being maintained, you can't get that one out. And that causes a lot of logistical problems, especially in the wintertime. When it comes to the building itself, we have bad ventilation. We have our heating systems are, I'll say, borderline atrocious. Right now, we heat with 2 waste oil systems in the garages. We rely on waste oil to come in from other sources. We don't generate enough ourselves. Those cause, frequent issues. They go down a lot. We have insufficient ventilation, so we're getting diesel exhaust fumes into our offices where the girls are working, and that's not right. So we're trying to correct all those problems and build a building for Sterling for the future.
Now, when was the current facility built?
So the current facility, the bones of that current facility were built in 1958. It has since seen 2 or 3 additions, actually. It got 2 in the 70s and then 1 in 2008, which was the most recent one. That's the one that added the second floor and some garage bays up front. But the bones are from the 50s.
So, and I know you've already covered some of this,
Yeah.
but why does something that was built in the 1950s no longer serve the needs of the community these days?
Yeah, so that building and all of its systems inside of it are just well beyond their useful life. No modern building codes are met with that current facility. We have non-compliant fire protection, like I said, really poor ventilation. We're getting those diesel exhaust fumes mixed into the office spaces and mixed into the workspaces. We don't have any sort of exhaust extractor for if we're working on a vehicle. ADA accessibility standards have evolved. We have public meetings in that building multiple times a month. We have a ADA lift that is almost constantly down because it was never really installed properly. And then again with the energy efficiency. So we have really poor insulation. We have single pane windows throughout. Those windows were not updated in the 2008 edition for some reason or another. We're seeing a lot of heat loss, very high utility costs. Those are all efficiencies we think we can make up with,
Sure.
with a new
I
building.
can understand what you're talking about with ventilation. Even when I came in to interview you on a few
Yeah.
occasions, I noticed that the air does not feel particularly good. Now, tell me what the DPW does. You guys are first responders, right?
We are, that's correct. So we are dedicated as a first responder by FEMA, and we like to consider ourselves the silent arm of public safety. So we might not be as flashy as the fire department or the police department, but we're out there with them and making sure that they can get to where they need to go. So we maintain all the town-owned roads. We maintain all the town cemeteries, grounds, parks. We produce, treat, and distribute all the town's drinking water. We manage the trash and recycling contract from our office, and I act as the tree warden, so we care for all the town's public shade trees. Probably our most visible time is in the winter months when we take care of all the snow and ice. We do everything in-house. We have no contractors that assist us with that. And our goal there is to keep the roads safe for the residents, the first responders, and do it in the most efficient manner possible.
Well, and I think that there's such a crucial role there, and I was going to ask you about times that it's been particularly crucial. Of course, I remember, as I'm sure most of our viewers do, that famous ice storm in 2008. Also, just a few years ago, we had a particularly snowy winter as well.
Yep. If you talk to some of the guys at our garage, those are the 2 things that come up a lot. The ice storm of 2008, they were here for 5, 6, 7 days in a row, just trying to get people in and out of their roads. Winter 14-15, it was blizzard after blizzard after blizzard. I think we saw well over 100 inches of snow. And then you can even fast forward to the September of 2023 when we had those rains, the ones that hit Leominster with 11 inches. We got 8 inches here in Sterling. And then put that on top of the way that winters are changing and evolving for us. We're not just getting snowstorms anymore. We're getting rain, ice, snow all at once. And that proves very, very challenging. Whatever Mother Nature or infrastructure throws at us, we're there.
Now, insofar as your ask at the November 3rd meeting, tell me first of all what has been done to date.
Sure. So this whole process started in 2021. The town hired Weston and Sampson to come in, do an evaluation of the existing building, and come up with what's called a space needs study, where they look at our operations, they interview our staff, and then they compare it to other buildings of similar, towns of similar sizes. In 2024, the select board created what's called the DPW Facility Committee. So that facility committee is made up of one select board member, one finance committee member, one DPW board member, and 2 members of the public. So since that time, they've been meeting, monthly or twice a month. That facility committee has carried us through the RFP, or request for proposal process, for designer, which is our architect, and our owner's project manager, which is required by state statute for a project of this size. So we have selected both of those. We have hired Weston and Sampson as our designer and Vertex as our owner's project manager. And since that time, voters in May approved $500,000, and that's for the schematic design. So the schematic design is the first step in our design process. Since then, we've finalized our program. We've picked a preferred site. We've developed some preliminary concepts, and we're now preparing to bring the remaining design funds to town meeting, to keep going with that design process.
Okay, so specifically at the November 3rd meeting, what is going to be on the ballot? What is DPW asking for?
So on November 3rd, we're asking for $2.2 million to complete all the remaining design, permitting, contractor pre-qualifications, and bidding for this project. The goal is to return in the fall of 2026, so 1 year from today, with a contractor's bid in hand reflecting actual construction costs to build the project. So there's no construction included in what we're asking for in November.
Now, you said that you have a site in mind. What is that site?
So the site we have in mind is located off Choxet Road and Leominster Road. It's located behind the police station, adjacent to where the town landfill used to be. It's not on the landfill or at the landfill. It's behind it. It's a sand pit. So it's where the town used to mine all its road sand. When we use sand on the roads, we haven't used sand on the roads for many years, and we won't be using that in the future. Right now, it's purely a stockpile area. We bring spoils from excavations there. We bring trees there. It gets processed, and then it gets removed. But it's a great site, town-owned. We don't have to purchase the site. Industrial zoned. It's a good location for this building.
Now, what do you envision that the new building will look like?
So the new building, as of right now, is made up of really 4 primary boxes. There's a administration area, vehicle storage, which is the biggest area. There's vehicle maintenance, which is really where all the town-owned vehicles get worked on. Town-owned, that includes light department, police, fire, anything that we work on. And then there's some workshop and support spaces, things like locker rooms, lunchrooms, etc. The design will be functional. We're looking for a cost-conscious design, metal panel facade, nothing fancy. We're really trying to go with durability and longevity of this building. We only want to build it once and be able to keep it for a long period
Now,
of time.
insofar as size, what do you envision the size is going to be?
So the size right now is about 37,000 square feet. The largest of that size being the 20,000 square foot vehicle storage area. Now that area is also the cheapest space in the whole building. It's a minimally heated, prefabricated metal building that really the rest of the building gets built around. And, when I say minimally heated, I'm talking 40, 45 degrees, doors on either end, so that minimizes heat loss, where if you were to stack them up in a lot of garage bays like we have now, we're opening 4 or 5 doors. Now we're only opening 1 to get vehicles out. And so that's the largest area. The other areas all kind of add up to the other 17,000 square feet.
Right, so the largest area is for the vehicles.
Correct.
Now, aren't these vehicles, though, built to withstand really rough weather conditions and whatnot? Why is it better to have them indoors?
So they are, but they're only at normal operating temperatures, right? So although diesel engines can start in the winter, you can plug them in with block heaters and things like that. The DPW trucks all have hydraulic systems on them, and those power the plows and the sanders. Operating hydraulics in cold temperatures can cause serious damage, premature wear, These vehicles right now today are costing about $300,000 a piece. When we're looking at projections into the future, dealerships are telling us to carry 10%. So in 5 years, a $300,000 vehicle is going to cost $500,000. We have 11, 12, 13 of these vehicles that we want to keep for as long as we possibly can. And here in Sterling, we do a good job of keeping our vehicles good, and we're trying to continue that into the future. Unfortunately, we're getting to a point where we're having to push a lot of them outside. Mm-hmm. So if we can keep them inside, we can keep them operating for longer.
Now, you also mentioned that in the current facility, it is really not accessible.
Correct.
Is this one going to be accessible?
Absolutely. The new facility will be completely ADA accessible. It's also proposed to only be one floor, so we wouldn't need an elevator or anything like that, and we would still plan to hold public meetings, DPW board meetings, things like that at this facility.
And what about OSHA regulations?
Yeah, so in August of 2022, Massachusetts became what's known as an OSHA state. So what that did is it extended the OSHA coverage to all public sector employees, and that includes us in the municipal world. The Department of Labor Standards now enforces workplace safety requirements and on public entities. They've actually come and toured our building, provided reports to us for our current building. And this new facility will allow full compliance with that OSHA standards, really for employee protection. That's the most important part. Sure. The safety and longevity of our employees is our most important thing. Vehicles aside, it's the employees, it's the guys, it's the boots on the ground. There's no one to drive those vehicles if we don't have those employees, and we're not trying to keep them safe.
Yeah. So Ryan, tell me, what is the total project budget?
Yep. So right now our conceptual budget is approximately $33 million. So what that includes is $25 to $27 million in current, conceptual construction costs. That is not what's being requested in November, but that's right now what the building could cost. And then there's $4 to $5 million in what's called soft costs. And a lot of people get confused about what soft costs are. So soft costs are the design fees. So what we're asking for right now is part of a soft cost. Testing, permitting, project management, contingencies. So God forbid something happen on the site. And then, a nice way to describe it is if you take the building and tip it upside down and shake it, anything that comes out is called a soft cost. Desks, tables, chairs, computers, cubicles, anything like that would be considered a soft cost, and that's included in the $4 to $5 million. The facility committee is aware that a construction budget of this magnitude may not be palatable to the taxpayers, but the design phase is essential to getting those costs down, and it gives us a chance to design what's needed and then start to shrink from there and come up with different ways to control costs.
Well, how are you controlling costs?
So our biggest thing right now is we're working closely with the municipal light department. So they are looking for some warehouse space, and they've been unable to find it in an existing facility. So we're looking and talking to them about maybe sharing some of the site costs. So there's some site development costs, whether it's the access road to get down there, the water and electric that would need to get buried in the road, some of the, flattening of the pad, getting rid of some of the piles. That would all be stuff that could be shared, potentially with SMLD to help drive some of those costs down. We're also looking at maybe auctioning off some of the existing material that's on that site. So there's a large bank of sand that is unmined. It goes back several hundred feet, and we're performing some testing on that material, it doesn't need to be moved for this project, but it can be moved for future projects and allow for future development on the site if the town ever feels the need to do that. We're also using pre-engineered metal structures wherever possible, right? This whole building's built around a pre-engineered metal structure. This is not a custom building by any means. We also have a large canopy storage area. So that canopy storage covers all of the gasoline vehicles, a lot of the trailers, things like that. None of that stuff is slated to be parked inside. It's all slated to be outside, just over cover storage, out of the wind, out of the sun, out of the snow, and things like that, which helps. And finally, we're going to keep this building super simple, right? Finishes are simple. We're looking for durability. We're not looking for, prettiness or anything like that. We're looking for something that we don't need to maintain all the time, can handle the workload that our guys put the building through,
Sure.
day in and day out.
Sure.
So.
Now, you're talking about a process here that began in 2022, I think you said.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about 2026 and whatnot. Why does this all take so long?
So project construction in Massachusetts, or public construction in Massachusetts, we follow a strict legal framework that governs how we go from A to B. So the designer selection process, the owner's project manager selection process, all the way through pre-qualifying contractors, bidding the project, overseeing the project, All that stuff is laid out by different state statutes and different state chapters. Unlike a private developer, we have to comply with detailed procurement. We have to bid the job. The contractors have to have a certain qualification to be able to work on public construction. So there's a lot of reviews and whatnot, and what that does is it ensures transparency and fairness, but it also makes the process lengthier and unfortunately more expensive. But that's the rules we have to follow. We can't circumvent those rules being a public entity.
Sure. Ryan, you've given us a lot of information. Just to kind of wrap up, just give me in a couple of sentences, why is this project important for Sterling?
So, we realize that this is the largest capital project in Sterling's history. Public safety facilities like police and fire, they're highly visible, but the DPW supports all aspects of residents every day, or many aspects of residents. We have more staff under one roof. We have more vehicles, and we're ready for any emergency, and we're there to support all those emergencies. So investing in this facility ensures reliable operations. It protects town assets. It supports long-term community resilience, and it protects the hardworking men and women who work in that facility every day, and gives them a place to want to come to work every day.
What is the result for Sterling if this doesn't move forward?
So the existing facility needs significant repairs, and immediate repairs. It needs a roof. It needs structural work. We need a salt shed. The salt shed's in severe disrepair. It's kind of being held together with duct tape and bubble gum at this point. The fueling station is beyond its insurability, and we're getting to the point now where we need to pull those tanks out of the ground and put in a new town fueling station. So that fueling station covers DPW, fire, police, SMLD, senior center, and the school when they need fuel as well. So even if we did all that work, we'd still be undersized at our existing facility. Deferring replacement is only going to increase those expenses and increase a new building down the line. So construction costs are raising about 4% a year or more. So patching an obsolete facility offers no long-term value, the way we look at it. So the DPW facility believes that now is the right time to move forward before those costs escalate and that critical infrastructure continues to deteriorate.
Thank you so much, Ryan Mouradian, Superintendent of Sterling's DPW.
Thank you, Lex.
He has been my guest today. So once again, the special town meeting, Monday, November 3rd, 6:30 p.m. at Chockset School Gym. And of course, Chockset School is at 40 Boutelle Road. Make sure that you get out there and have your voice heard and get all the information that you can, which is what we've tried to do here for you this morning. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Lex.